In our previous video, we have already discussed about the factors that affect atmospheric pressure. The factors are temperature, humidity, altitude, and Earth's rotation. We read that atmospheric pressure is inversely related to temperature, humidity, and altitude. We read that warm, moist air exerts less atmospheric pressure than cold, dry air. Now, again, in higher altitudes, as the density of air is less, so atmospheric pressure is less in higher altitudes than in lower altitudes where the density of air is more. Air pressure also depends on Earth's rotation. As the Earth rotates, the winds blow clockwise in northern hemisphere and they turn or blow anti-clockwise in southern hemisphere. Now, due to movement of these winds, air pressure conditions vary across different places. High air pressure exists in the places where the winds blow in, while low air pressure exists over the places where the winds blow out. So, Earth's rotation also has a significant impact on atmospheric pressure. Now, due to the existence of these factors, the atmospheric condition is not uniform throughout the globe. The air pressure is mostly similar across the latitudes. So, this uniform or horizontal distribution of air pressure across the latitudes creates pressure belts. The pressure belts are characterized by high pressure belts or by low pressure belts. Now, in this globe, we can see the important latitudes of the world, and the pressure belts are found surrounding these latitudes. So, these are the major pressure belts of the world. Now, there exist 4 major pressure belts in the world. We will learn about them one by one. We know our Mother Earth is spherical in shape. As a result, the equatorial region receives the maximum sun rays. In fact, it receives direct rays of the sun throughout the year. As a result, this region has high temperature. So, the air prevailing in this region gets heated up and expand, and this air rises up, creating a low pressure region. So, this low pressure region with little wind movement prevailing across the equator is known as equatorial low pressure belt. So, we just learned that equatorial low pressure belt exists around the equator. We will now discuss about the characteristic of this equatorial low pressure belt. Equatorial low pressure belt receives direct rays of the sun. As a result, it has high temperature throughout the year, and due to this high temperature, low pressure conditions prevail in this region. So, this pressure belt is named as equatorial low pressure belt because low pressure condition prevails surrounding the equator. So, this pressure belt is named as equatorial low pressure belt. Now, this pressure belt extends 5 degree north and 5 degree south of the equator. See, in this globe, we can see the extension of equatorial low pressure belt, and we can see that this pressure belt extends 5 degree north of the equator and 5 degree south of the equator. So, this is the extension of the equatorial low pressure belt. The equatorial low pressure belt is also known as doldrums. Now, the literal meaning of doldrums is a stagnant or depressed state. Now, we know that in equatorial region, low pressure condition prevails. So, this region has little wind movements, and due to this reason, equatorial low pressure belt is also known as doldrums. Now, although equatorial low pressure belt is a calm low pressure region, but this region experiences stormy weather with frequent rainfall. Now, why this is the case? This is because in equatorial region many water bodies are found, and as winds blow over these water bodies, they pick up moisture and causes frequent rainfall. Apart from this, equatorial low pressure belt is the convergence zone of two types of winds. We will discuss about this while studying about winds. Now, due to the convergence of the two types of winds, equatorial region experiences stormy weather. So, these are the important characteristics of equatorial low pressure belt. Now, we will discuss about the next type of pressure belt. Hot air rises from the equatorial region and reaches the upper layers of atmosphere. Then they eventually cool down. This cold dense air sinks on the either side of the equator. At about 30 degrees north and south of the equator, there exists a region where this ascending cold air descends. This creates a high pressure zone. Now, this high pressure zone also receives polar winds which intensify the high pressure condition. So, this high pressure zone existing 30 degrees north and south of the equator is also known as subtropical high pressure belt. We will now discuss about the characteristics of subtropical high pressure belt. Subtropical high pressure belt is a high pressure zone which is created due to sinking of cold air from equatorial region and onset of polar winds from polar region. Subtropical high pressure belt extends from 30 degree to 35 degree north and south of the equator. So, this is equator, and the subtropical high pressure belt exists 30 to 30 degree north of the equator and 30 to 35 degree south of the equator. So, this subtropical high pressure belt exists in both the hemispheres. Subtropical high pressure belt is also known as horse latitude. We will soon discuss the reason why subtropical high pressure belt is known as horse latitude. Subtropical high pressure belt experiences calm weather with a little dry winds. Now, why this region experiences dry winds, we will study about this later while discussing about winds. For now, let us discuss why subtropical region has a calm weather. I just discussed that subtropical region has high pressure. So, the winds generally move away from this region towards the low pressure region. So, since subtropical region is a high pressure region, so the winds move away from this region towards the low pressure region. And due to this reason, subtropical high pressure belt usually experiences calm and quiet weather. Now, there is an interesting story why the subtropical high pressure belt is also called horse latitude. In ancient times, international trade was facilitated through seas. The European traders used to carry horses to sail them in overseas countries. and during this expedition they had to cross the vast Atlantic Ocean. After traveling for some time, they entered into the subtropical high pressure belt, which is a high pressure region with little wind movements. Now, in those days, mechanized boats was not available, and they used sailboats for this purpose. Now, since this region had little wind movement, the sailing boats got stuck in one place for many days. So, in order to survive and in order to conserve food and water for themselves, the sailors used to throw their horses into the seas. Now, due to continuous dumping of horses into the seas, this belt got this name. Now, before we proceed with our lesson, let us try to answer this question. Which pressure belt is known as horse latitude? Is it subtropical high pressure belt, equatorial high pressure belt, equatorial low pressure belt, or subtropical low pressure belt? Well, the correct answer is subtropical high pressure belt. Subtropical high pressure belt is also known as horse latitude. Earth's rotation has significant impact on wind movement. The winds move or blow clockwise in northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise in southern hemisphere due to Earth's rotation. Now, as a result of this, the wind in this region, that is 60 degree north and south of the equator, are pushed either to the subtropical high pressure belt or towards the polar region. Now, as a result of this, low pressure region exists in this zone. Now, this low pressure zone found at 60 degree north and south of the equator is also known as subpolar low pressure belt. We will now discuss about the characteristics or features of subpolar low pressure belt. Subpolar low pressure belt is a low pressure zone which is created because of the Earth's rotation. The winds prevailing in this region are pushed either towards the polar region or towards the subtropical high pressure belt, and as a result low pressure zone prevails over this region. So, this region is also known as subpolar low pressure belt. Subpolar low pressure belt extends or exists from 60 degree to 65 degree north and south of the equator. Look at this globe. In this globe, we can see the location or extension of subpolar low pressure belt. Subpolar low pressure belt extends from 60 degree north to 65 degree north of the equator. And also it extends from 60 degree south to 65 degree south of the equator. So, this subpolar low pressure belt is found in both the hemispheres. Subpolar low pressure belt is characterized by violent storms, especially in winter season. Now, violent storms occur in this region because of the convergence of two types of winds. We will read about this while studying about winds. So, these are the important characteristics of subpolar low pressure belt. We know both the poles, that is North Pole and South Pole, receives minimum sun rays or they receive very slanting sun rays. As a result, these polar regions have very low temperature. In fact, these regions are characterized by permanent ice caps. So, the air prevailing in this region is cold and dense. This cold dense air sinks or descends down, creating a high pressure region. So, this high pressure zone prevailing over both the poles is also known as polar high pressure belt. So, now let us discuss about the important characteristics of polar high pressure belt. polar high pressure belt experiences, or the polar region experiences, extremely low temperature and high pressure. This region experiences low temperature because this receives minimum sun rays, and due to very low temperature, a high pressure zone prevails in this region. Now, where polar high pressure belt is found? Polar high pressure belt exists at North Pole and South Poles. So in this globe, we can see that this region around North Pole, here polar high pressure belt exists, and another polar high pressure belt exists around the South Pole. So polar high pressure belt is found in both the hemispheres. Polar high pressure belt is also known as polar high. Polar because it is found near both the poles, and high because high pressure conditions exist in this region. So polar high pressure belt is also known as polar highs. Antarctic high is more pronounced or more prominent than Arctic high. And why this is so? This is because in southern pole, the entire continent of Antarctica is found, which is a landmass. So the low pressure condition is more pronounced or prominent over the continent of Antarctica. While in the Arctic region or North Pole, apart from the land masses, a prominent water body is found, and that is Arctic Ocean. And since the land cools down faster than the water, so the low pressure condition is more intense over Antarctica than over the North Pole. So these are the important characteristics of the extreme pressure belt, that is the polar high pressure belt. So these are the important pressure belts or the major pressure belts of the world. Mainly, there are 4 major pressure belts in our world, that is the equatorial pressure belt, subtropical pressure belt, subpolar pressure belt, and polar pressure belt. Just remember that the equatorial pressure belt is a low pressure belt, and the rest of the pressure belts are found in alternate. That is, if equatorial pressure belt is a low pressure belt, then the subtropical pressure belt will be a high pressure belt, and again it will be followed by a low pressure belt, and finally in the poles we have high pressure belt. So the pressure belts are found in an alternate way, and the pressure belts exist around the major latitudes. Also, apart from equatorial low pressure belts, all the other pressure belts are found in both the hemispheres. That is, the subtropical high pressure belt is found in northern hemisphere and in southern hemisphere. Also, subpolar low pressure belt and polar high pressure belts are found in both the hemispheres. So these are the major pressure belts of the world. Here we have a summary chart on major pressure belts of the world. Equatorial pressure belt is a low pressure belt. It extends 5 degrees north and south of the equator. The next pressure belt is subtropical pressure belt. It is a high pressure belt. It extends 30 degrees to 35 degrees north and south of the equator. The next one is subpolar pressure belt. It is a low pressure belt. It extends from 60 degrees to 65 degrees north and south of the equator. The last one is polar pressure belt. Polar pressure belt is a high pressure belt. This polar high pressure belt is found in both the poles, that is in North Pole and South Pole. Now you can pause the video and have a careful look at this chart. So in today's lesson, we discussed about pressure belts. We first understood what is pressure belt. Pressure belts refers to the horizontal distribution of air pressure across the latitudes. And then we discussed about the important pressure belts of the world. The important pressure belts of the world are Equatorial low pressure belt, Subtropical high pressure belt, Subpolar low pressure belt, and finally Polar high pressure belt. In our next video, we will discuss about the shifting of these pressure belts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to our 5,000 amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million-plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubt resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, but it's rewarding too. So register for free now.